Welcome to Watch and Roll. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have something really special for review, and that is the newly released Sinn from the U50 series. This is the DS edition, which is limited to 1000 pieces. But that being said, they're all different because the dial has decorative grinding and no two watches are alike. Just like many other Sinn watches, this one has an extensive list of features to it. We already covered the dial about the decorative grinding, and I'll show you something about how it reacts to light a bit later. But the case and crown are made of high-strength, seawater resistant German submarine steel. Everything is bead blasted, so it has a very matte technical look to it. The case is further tegimented, so is the bracelet and even the bezel. It's tested based on European diving equipment standards. It's certified waterproof and pressure resistant to 500 meters or 50 bars or 50 atmospheres. It has a captive diver's bezel with minute ratcheting, crowns at 4 o'clock, and this is a very good placement because it will never dig into your wrist. But that being said, look at the thinness of this watch. It's truly spectacular for something that has 500 meter resistance. The case itself is 41 millimeters. That being said, I have to say this wears a bit smaller. If you're familiar with the U50 series, you know they usually have a pop of color, usually red on the bezel, sometimes the second hand, depending on the configuration, even though they've released colored version of these, especially the black finish on the case and bracelet. This one's a bit different. It's very monochromatic, so if you're the type of person who likes a bit more stern, kind of tactical look, this is right up your alley. The dial itself, which of course is the main event with this one, is protected by sapphire crystal that has anti-refractive coating on both sides, so it tends to disappear in almost all lighting conditions. But the dial itself is very interestingly done. I thought it would be a bit boring based on press images, but when I got the watch, I have to say it has a very lively character to it. Under certain lighting conditions, looks very dark gray, kind of, almost titanium look to it. In direct sunlight, it tends to come to life. You can see the finishing on it. Especially in bright sunlight, it really comes to life. That being said, with the finish of the dial, it's actually extremely legible, something that we've come to expect from Sinn. Really lights up like a Christmas tree in the dark. Lume generously applied on hands, indices, the triangle on the bezel. Overall, very, very legible watch. The question now is, how does it wear? And the answer is, this is a phenomenal watch from the standpoint that it's a very, very capable diver with 500 meters resistance, yet is thin enough to really slip under a cuff, and a tight one at that. When it comes to date windows, there are two groups of people. Some love them, some hate them. I'm in neither one as long as it's done correctly and properly, and in this case it is. What Sinn have done is they have included a black date disc, so it tends to disappear, especially in the dark. It's almost easy to miss the fact that the watch has a date. One thing that often gets lost on press images and releases and videos is really the tactical matte stealth look that these have. Let's compare it to what many believe to be the benchmark for dive watches these days, the Rolex Submariner. You can right away see the Rolex is a lot shinier, a lot more sparkle. It's like the color is much brighter. This one has a more subdued, almost titanium look to it. Very few, if any, parts that cast reflections. Very different vibe between the two. Once again, very interesting. Believe it or not, the spec wise, Rolex actually has the smaller case on paper. Look at the difference between the two. Maybe it's just me, but visually the Sinn for me wears smaller and it looks smaller even when put side to side. Thank you for watching. Till next time.